Hello, Soul Design community. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today we're going to analyze 3 different soles from Salomon brand, because I think Salomon is one of the best brands where we can really find every kind of trail running soles covering every different user experience. Let's say this is what we have to talk about. It's about user experience. There are different categories. We could go really muddy and very loose kind of terrain. Here we have to have a lot of opening between, a lot of distance between the lugs, and then we have a category which is like more multi-sport. We still don't have a lot of heel break, but it is more like a running profile. And then we can go up to a little bit more pro, where we have the heel and we have more trekking like lugs. So we can also do a little bit like a light trekking. So when we talk about soles, we should also talk about materials. For this sport, for this segment, like road running, also trail running needs a lot of traction. It needs grip. It requires a very good quality materials, and it requires a good compound for that. So many brands, they have their own compounds that they study with the chemists. And in this case, we have Conta Grip from Salomon, which is their excellent compound, I should say, which works in different conditions and in different terrains like asphalt and concrete. And then we have more like multi-sport wide variety. We have the muddy, loose, soft or uneven terrain. And then we have snow and cold, and then we have wet rocks and smooth. Of course, the design changes when we look at the bottom, but the compound is responding to all of these situations. We have the different brands like Michelin, like Vibram, and they would develop different compounds also for all these different categories. So it's a matter of studying the compounds, actually. So in this case, we have this, and let's start one by one, starting from this big midsole, and then we have this monocolor, very simple monolug. When I say monolug, it's just one lug design. As you can see here, it's just one shape that is repeating all around. And then these are really like very spiky, so you can see that they are really distant, and whatever mud comes in, it just goes out, it doesn't stick. But we don't have a lot of ground contact. So it has its pros and cons. As you can see, the heel part is really, it has only like 4 lugs, and we don't have any really like an anti-abrasion area for the heel part, which I usually prefer to do. This part is going up, so it doesn't really help anything. It's just covering and protecting the midsole. And as you can see on the lateral side and on the medial side, we have a very high midsole. So this midsole, in my opinion, should be an injected EVA midsole, because it's very high. Otherwise, it would be difficult to control the expansion in a compression molding. So we usually inject these. And as you can see, there's also a very strong undercut. So this undercut in compression molding is really difficult to take out of the mold. We can observe some textures, and we don't have any colors in the midsole. We have a print of the brand, which is giving that technical look. It's also personalized. So this is something that we can also do, you know, like design a very low price, let's say midsole, or in this case it is injected. It is not very low price as, you know, mold investment, but the overall it's just one material and just one color. And by doing some print, you know, applying some print and some texture, we can also enrich and make a unique design that is not the first thing that would come into your mind. So we have nice versatile top line, which with this top line, we can create a lot of different lines for the upper as well. So let's go at the most important detail in this sole, I think, is the visual story through texture and surface design. So just imagine if you did not have all this texture, and inside the texture you can see that it is all polished. So these areas which are recessed in the sole actually are positive in the mold. So they can be easily polished. Even if it's all black, we have this texture going on, this pattern going on, we have this shiny effect, and then we have the same texture here also in this area, you know, like all over the midsole. So it is aligned. I think it's beautiful. It's a good solution. This is done in mold. It's not a applied texture, but it is like really like a design. And then when you go up to the upper, you can see the engineered mesh design, which is creating this whole beautiful story. And in this case, it's also a very feminine, beautiful, more fashionable kind of sole, I guess. I really like this one. So there is a lot of cushioning as well, because as you can see here again, the midsole is really high. So I think this should be really, really cushioned. The only con, I would say, you know, like the pros are a lot, but I'm not very convinced about, you know, all these areas where we need a lot of terrain contact. We don't have it. And also the distances are a little bit uneven. We have these areas which are kind of sucked in. I can see that. And I think the stability is not going to be 100%. And also I think the abrasion will wear this sole off a little bit quickly. And the sole is not really repairable with this top line. So I think these are the negative thoughts that I have on this sole. So we have to also sometimes criticize. We cannot do, you know, like a video saying that everything is perfect. Even if it's Salomon, I guess that this design is a little bit tricky. I have to say that. I would always distribute these lugs. If there's a lot of distance, I would distribute them very evenly, so that wherever I touch, I know that there is something touching on the ground. Yeah, we have seen the visual story through texture and surface design. I think this is the heart of sole design. So when we get into Genesis Gore-Tex, you can see that we have more terrain contact with sharp lugs. They are still sharp and spiky as it should be in trail running. But we have more lugs placed really evenly. The distances are quite equal. And then shank area is not really contributing to anything, but we have a TPU shank support. The sole is really high also in this case. It is very sculpted. And we have a medial support with the EVA midsole. And then we have a lateral support with a TPU insert with the branding on top of it. And also here we can create upper designs starting from the sole. That's why sole is very important. We can use the lines of the sole to create our upper, or we can design it absolutely together. So that's also another tip that I would give to all of our footwear designers, is to design the product. When you're designing the sole, start to draw some lines also of the upper. When you are designing only the upper, start to play with the lines also of the sole. They are inseparable. They should be integrated, and the sole should have a design like this one. Even if this is very strong, you can also take it out, maybe put something else here, a little bit less forte, let's say, a little bit less strong as design. But you can do a lot of different uppers with this sole. So this is also important, the versatile design that you can use for many years, because it's an investment. We are not designing soles for just 1 or 2 seasons. So again, we have the contact grip rubber outsole, and we have it very visible here because they have this you know, like triangle, 3D triangle in red color. So this is like Vibram's yellow tag. This is their tag. And then we have a lot of space distance. But here, when we go towards the heel, you can see that the lugs start to clutter together. They become a little bit more busy. The area is more covered because when we run, the heel part is the part that is more abraded. There's more abrasion. So that's why cluttering them and keeping them a little bit closer will give us more rubber and more terrain contact and more anti-abrasion areas. So let's look at a little bit the details. Again, here we have a visual story through texture and surface design. So I cannot emphasize this more. When the design is finished, there is still to design, which is the texture and the surface. So here we have the lugs. On top of the lugs, we don't have really a lot of texture because we need the grip. The more plain rubber we have, the more we have grip. But since we have some cuts, these cuts are gonna allow water and mud to drain. It can also stick a little bit inside, but that happens. But here between the lugs, we have a lot of distance. So between the lugs, most probably the mud will not stick. And then as you can see, we have a subtle step in the base rubber for durability and stability. So we are giving a little bit of more flash here. And then we go and make this lines pattern, which we can see also here on the midsole. Midsole and outsole, they have the same visual language. It is very chic. I think I really like it. And as you can see that the texture stops here, and then we have another texture here. And this is giving us, like an illusion as if we have two colors. So here in this part where we have all these stripes, which are a positive and negative, it is giving us more shadow. So it's making our sole even more 3D. So these are like little tricks that we can use in surface design, which is really important. As you can see, the lugs are really cut. So this gives us more traction and more flexibility in these big chunks of rubber. So they are really like trail running. And when we talk about this sole is very different than the others because we have a real braking heel, which means when I run downhill, there's something it's gonna stick and it's gonna break. Sometimes people go really fast and they go down. You do the downhill running and it's quite dangerous. If there is not anything that keeps you braking and stop, you can also injure yourself. Then you will ask me, why did the other ones didn't have? So as I say, I go to the second slide and I say there is not one solution. You will have to choose your shoe knowing what type of trail running you are doing. If you are practicing a very fast and a little bit more dangerous kind of trail running, I would recommend this sole. It also has a very good TPU shank that goes all through the heel, which is a protection actually. It is protecting also the heel. It's keeping everything really firm and really stable. So it's a stabilizer actually. So we have, when we look at the bottom, we have a mix of trekking and trail running because we have the perimeter, which is like a trekking sole, but then we have a lot of distance between the lugs, and the lugs are small and they are spiky in the middle, in the central area. But on the perimeter, we have them a little bit bigger so that they give a lot of stability. So this is for more like a trail running and trekking, a little bit more heavy duty kind of sole. So it also, the design shows it. It is very busy. It's very earthy and it's very trekking looking. And again, here we have a lot of textures. We have a versatile top line, I would say. Here we have a TPU that is more covering, it's higher and it's all full. Here we have it a little bit more carved because in the medial area, in this case, they wanted to give a little bit more containment. And then this design is getting inside the EVA, and I can imagine, I don't know actually, but I can imagine that it is two density EVA because they are separated. This could be a little bit more stable and harder EVA, and then this part can be a little bit softer, so it gives this cushioning. But then we have this stabilizer that goes also under the rubber actually, so it's really like a TPU shank. And then we can see that there is this shiny effect on the top line, and we have this shiny effect in the middle, and then we have these stripes again. And we have a lot of different textures, and here also very rich textures in the bottom design. Shank area has breaking elements, so these are also little breaking elements that they would stop you a little bit if you're going too fast. And then we have on tag grip label, the tag, and then we have some scripts. So these are all very technical marketing strategies, let's say. If we have the technology, it's better to write it, it's better to show it, put a color that makes it really visible. We have the writing, the script also here. So these are also very important to create areas where we can write stuff. Okay, so even if we don't have it in the brief, we may add it afterwards. It is possible. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions and any considerations about all the slides that I have showed you, please comment below so that we can open up a conversation. Bye-bye. Ciao.